Can you talk to us a little bit about what is a stem cell injection? Why would that be a technology that someone might lean into, kind of in relation to what you were just talking about?
Yeah, so there's some interesting things here. First, stem cell injections definitely are going to become more widely available, less expensive in the future. But right now, there really hasn't been a huge success in the conventional stem cell industry. There's some problems, meaning that you can't always control the way stem cells are going to divide. So one of the methods, for example, would be you can cultivate stem cells from a person's own body, and this is a little bit less risky, and then re-inject them. But if you have somebody, let's say, over the age of 50 or 60, the quality of those stem cells has declined and they're not as good as repairing tissues. So a little bit of pro and con there. But in any case, problem is when you can't completely control the way a stem cell divides, that's when accidents happen. So there have been experiences that people have where the stem cell differentiates into different tissue. This has happened in animal experiments where early on in Japan, they were doing research into Parkinson's disease. They would inject stem cells into the brains of monkeys, and the monkeys would die because the stem cells divided in an uncontrollable fashion. So when they would open up the monkey, they'd find in the brain hair cells, muscle cells, liver cells. So this is one of the risks and dangers. Another problem is that if you're not managing inflammation, the stem cell colonies die off very quickly. So let's say the reason why a person wants to get a stem cell injection is to treat a chronic injury. Let's say they have torn rotator cuff in their shoulder. Well, the inflammatory chemicals, such as the inflammatory cytokines, the stem cells are attracted to that inflammation, but the inflammation also kills off the stem cells. So this is why some people go for stem cell injections and they don't get any result. And it's because of the inflammation. So with our tech, copper peptide and also the Eon patch are wonderful at managing inflammation. And this is why people get results with our products when a stem cell injection failed.
Wow. Well, it seems like, stem cell injections maybe aren't perfected yet and maybe aren't an option for everyone for many reasons, right? But I think that's why a lot of people are really excited about LifeWave. And so I'd love for us to really talk about what LifeWave has as an alternative option to something like an injection or something else out there. But before we really jump super close into stem cell activation patches exactly, I'd like to kind of take one step back for those that are new to LifeWave and help them understand a little bit about how our technology works. So would you maybe be able to explain a little bit about what is phototherapy, because that's the basis for our patches, and then how have you harnessed the technology or the concept with phototherapy into the technology that's now available through LifeWave?
Yeah, so the patches are a form of phototherapy, as you say, and they stimulate the skin with very low levels of light. So there is a very well documented interaction between the human body and light. There's well over 5,000 published clinical studies on using light to influence the metabolic processes within cells and within the human body. So, for example, one of the things that can be done with light is to turn on mitochondrial function. And this is an area that I look into because mitochondrial function is directly connected with how we age, either in a good way or not so good way. So a common example that we would use is you go out in the sun, and you might notice I have a little bit of color. And there's an X39 story, by the way, there that we can circle back on. But it's a good example how you go out in the sun and sunlight will elevate vitamin D, or sunlight will elevate melanin, giving us a tan. Melanin is actually a very powerful antioxidant, and it protects the skin from damage from UV radiation. For men that are interested in elevating their testosterone, you go out and you subject your androgen receptors and your trapezius muscles up on your shoulders to UV light, and it elevates testosterone. So non-drug method for elevating testosterone. So so it's very well documented that light will cause biochemical changes within the human body. What we do with the patches is I discovered a way that we could process completely organic materials so that they, when activated by body heat, they reflect very low levels of light that stimulate the skin. This will in turn cause a biochemical change in the cell, which we document with blood tests and with urine tests and bioelectrical tests. So in the case of X39, we stimulate the skin with low levels of light, and it causes the cells to produce more copper peptide.
Oh, I love it. I love just the simplicity, even though I know it's not a simple process, but the way you explain it. And I love that all of our patches really utilize that same technology, but to create a different and very specific biochemical reaction or response, like you were saying. So like you were talking about with X39 and the copper peptide, let's shift over to that, because I know X39 and X49 are two of our stem cell activation patches, which are a pretty special category. And so I'm excited for us to talk about this. And for everyone, I know we're going to be talking about X49 at convention as well, but can you talk to us a little bit more about that copper peptide, what the biochemical response that's created with X39 as well as X49 and how it relates to stem cell activation like we were talking about before?
So X39 would be the mother product. So if there are people that are on today that are looking at LifeWave and they're wondering, well, where do I start? Start with X39 because that has the broadest effects of any of the patches. And the reason for this is that X39 elevates a peptide called GHKCU, or copper peptide. And GHKCU was discovered by a biochemist back more than 50 years ago now, Dr. Lauren Picard. And he should get a Nobel Prize for this discovery because it's truly extraordinary. And what he found is that copper peptide is a very powerful signaling molecule and gene modulator. And there's many studies that are on the internet that people can read about this. But essentially what this means is that as we age, our library of information, our genes, they change in how they're expressed in the body. And this is important because if we're shifting our genes from a younger state to an older state, we're going to end up with wrinkles and gray hair and loss of muscle tissue and declining immune function and all the rest. If we can reset those genes to a younger, healthier state, then we can recover some of our youth. And that's exactly what copper peptide does. It resets about 1/3 of the human genome to a more youthful state. So the impact of this, what does that do in practical terms? Well, we found we could take people over the age of 60 and restore their cognitive function. So we can improve speed of processing, short-term, long-term memory. We can regain muscle tissue and recovery with X39 and X49, improve energy metabolism in the cell, manage inflammation, and of course, increase collagen production for reducing the appearance of lines and wrinkles, and among many other benefits.
Wow. Every time I hear anything about how amazing this peptide is and what these patches support doing, it's just so incredible. I know it's important for us to always share a disclaimer, about what we're doing here with these patches. Do you mind sharing a little bit in the disclaimer standpoint, what these patches do and don't do?
Sure. Well, first thing is I'm not a medical doctor. I'm an inventor. We don't give medical device advice. We don't make any medical claims. We don't claim that our products are going to treat or cure anything. They're general wellness products. So basically, the claims that we make is that they're going to improve overall energy, help with management of pain, help with sports performance, and of course, some other things that have to do with lifestyle. So in terms of disclaimers, we're not making any claims that these patches treat or cure any illness. They're wellness products.
I love the way that you put that, David. I know that people have incredible experiences when using these patches to support the body's natural function. So I do think it's important that we share that. So hopefully everyone here, you know that it's important that we're not claiming that, but absolutely know that these patches are pretty incredible and what they can do to help your body do what it was designed to do.